Hello, and welcome to Abilities United Presents Community Connections, a program dedicated to those individuals living with a developmental or physical challenge. I'm Andrea Thronson, Community Connections Developer. Tonight we have a really exciting program. Our theme is education and working in the community. We have several really interesting guests and 2 field shoots that will show you what type of volunteer work we do out in the community. With me now is State Senator Joe Simitian. Welcome, Senator.
Nice to be with you. Thank you.
It's an absolute honor to have you here.
Thanks.
So I'm going to start this program a little bit different than we normally do.
Okay.
And when I told our participants, we've got hundreds of participants that are in the Santa Clara and San Mateo counties, and I asked them all, we're going to have State Senator on, and it was a really big deal. So they compiled a few questions, and I want to just ask you just a couple of them, just to start. So, dear Senator, thank you for your service. I don't know a lot about government, and I'm just wondering, what do you do as a senator? So could you just briefly say?
Well, at one level, the job description is pretty straightforward, which is there are 40 state senators and 80 state assembly members, and we author and pass the laws that become law for 38 million Californians. So that's the short version of the job description, is that whatever the laws are here in California, they start in an official way on the floor of the California State Senate or the California State Assembly. The debate goes on, and if a proposed piece of legislation, gets a majority in both houses, it goes to the governor, and if he signs it, then it becomes law. In fact, the job is much more wide-ranging and much more interesting than that, and it can be anything from helping a constituent who picks up the phone and calls our office because they don't know where else to go to get help with some state agency or bureaucracy that isn't perhaps being as helpful as it might be, and we try and step in and be helpful there where we can. Or it could be that we're out in the community. I try to spend a fair amount of time listening directly to the people I represent. I think people are often surprised. I have 931,349 constituents. I know that number because we just did a census. So I could be at a town hall in a community center with 100 people chatting with them directly. I could be holding sidewalk office hours. I try to get out to farmers markets because pretty much everybody's in a good mood at the farmers market, and talking to people there directly to listen. So listening is a big part of the job, as well as standing up on the floor of the state Senate to make the case for a particular piece of legislation. And then another piece that's oftentimes, I think, not particularly understood is what we call oversight. And I think the legislature, frankly, should do more of that. Government sometimes doesn't work as well as it might. And one of the roles of the legislature is to pull people in and say, tell us where the money goes, tell us what you do with it, tell us what we're getting for those dollars, tell us how it might be done better. Is there a way to do things more efficiently, or with the better results? So providing that oversight, and not just assuming that because somebody passed a law or created an agency 2, 5, 10, or 20 years ago that it's working, is, I think, an important part of it. So those are all parts of the job.
Okay, very interesting. One more question. Dear Senator, thank you for your awesome work. How did you know you wanted to become a senator?
I think people think that folks in the state legislature or people who choose public service as an elected official are all the same. We are really quite a motley cast of characters. I mean, if you took the 40 state senators and the 80 state assembly members that are my colleagues and put them all in a room, you would never say, oh, sure, these people are all the same. And I don't mean, yes, there's diversity in terms of gender or age or race or ethnicity, but I just mean very different people from very different backgrounds, very different personalities, very different personal styles. The year that I was a freshman legislator, I was elected in 2000, and I would have been 47 that year. One of my colleagues was a 59-year-old great-grandmother of 7. She and I were both freshmen together the same year.
Wow.
We had very different life experiences, as you can imagine. But she's still a colleague, and a great colleague, Gloria Negrete McLeod from down in Southern California. We work closely together. We see things differently, and that's okay. But I think people, including your questioner, would be surprised at just how different the personalities are, that somehow all end up with the same first name, senator or assembly member, depending on which house they're in. I found my way really from my service at the local level. I was a local school board member. I was a 30-year-old bachelor school board member. Everybody said, "What? What's that about?" And
Right.
I was the first school board member in the Palo Alto area who had not been a mom and her dad. I was, and I explained to people, look, I think public education is the way we create a society of equal opportunity. So if that's what you care about, it seems to me that's the most important tool. If we make that work, the rest will follow. If we come up short, it won't work. Right. So after 8 years in the Palo Alto School Board, I said, this is, for me, very satisfying work, and I ended up pursuing it in other venues, later as a city council member and mayor, and then as a county supervisor, and then eventually in the state legislature.
So when you say that it's an assembly of all different abilities and all different types of people, it may even be possible for one of our participants at one point to aspire to be a senator.
Absolutely, and I think, there is less in the way of expectations about what a senator is or looks like, or what an assembly member is or looks like. It wasn't that long ago, frankly, that there weren't very many women and there weren't very many people of color. That's changed dramatically in the last couple of decades. Right. We have husbands and wives. We have actually we have an ex-husband and an ex-wife, which is an interesting dynamic to watch.
Wow.
And look, apropos of your question, different people bring different talents.
Right.
There are some members who are not particularly well spoken, and that's not the strength they bring.
Right.
There are others who may not be particularly good politicians, but who are very good policy people. There are others who are very good policy people who are not necessarily good at persuading others. There are some who are very good at persuading others, but need a little help figuring out what it is they should be persuading about.
Right.
So it's a very mixed bag, and you're fortunate if you are pretty good at most of the things that are part of the job description. But again, every member is different, and I think people would be surprised just how different they are once they got to know them.
Right. So let's go back a little bit. And you know about our organization, and you said that you have even run into some people that started it a long time ago. Let's talk about we place our volunteers our participants out in volunteer positions. How important is volunteering in the city and so forth?
Well, I think it's important on a number of different levels. First, I am always optimistic. That's my nature. That being said, there is no end to the challenges facing the nation, the state, our area, and I've always been of the view, we really can't afford to turn away anyone who has a contribution to make given the extent of our challenges. So to leave part of the talent pool untapped is just unwise in my view at any level. So the role that volunteers play is to be the force multiplier for people who have an assigned responsibility or whose job it may be to take care of this particular issue or that particular issue. But volunteers can supplement that and make those folks so much more powerful and so much more effective. So that's part of it. Part of it is just that I think there's a qualitative difference in the service you render when you do it as a volunteer. It's from the heart. I don't mean to be too hokey about it, but it's from the heart.
Right.
And I think that makes the difference. When you volunteer, by definition, you're not there because of the paycheck. There isn't one. You're not there because it's your job. It's not your job. It's your passion. It's the thing you've chosen to, of all the things you could choose, you've chosen to volunteer in this way. And I think that brings something to it as well. But then, the last, and I think equally important element is that particularly for people who may have either physical challenges or other challenges in their lives, it's a way to make sure that they get to play their full role in the community.
Right.
And it's also a way to make sure that the community has the broadest possible notion of who's a part of that community.
Right.
And that's and I think the world in our region in particular has gotten better in that regard, but I think there's still room for improvement.
Right. So you would say that our participants it's a way for them to shine, it's a way for the community to see how valuable they are, and so it's a win-win for everybody.
Well, and I'll this is a personal story. Not sure I've ever shared. Years ago, I had something called Bell's palsy, a very minor infection. Basically, half of your face freezes up. And I still have a little remnant of it, so you'll notice when I smile that the smile's a little bit crooked. And but I had it actually twice, once when I was a 17-year-old kid and then once in my late 30s. And one of the things I discovered was people started talking slowly. And I had to very politely say at the time, my face isn't moving. That doesn't mean I don't hear or process just as quickly as I ever did.
Right.
And you know, I would never compare that temporary and minor inconvenience to some of the challenges that many of your clients are managing to work with and through. But it was, for me, it was a very useful experience because I realized just the fact that I look a little bit different is the basis for people to draw some pretty broad inferences about what I can and can't do.
Right.
And it was, and I'll tell you the other piece of it, again, this is more personal than I'm accustomed to being, but I noticed that for some people it was sort of the basis for them to make a joke, or it made them uncomfortable.
Right.
And one of the things I quickly realized is it's not much fun to go through life, even for just a few months, as the basis for somebody else's laughter or their sympathy. Those are neither, frankly, the emotions you want to evoke as you go through your daily routine.
Right.
So I think for folks to understand that a challenge or a limitation is just a small piece of who somebody is, and that there's the whole rest of them, which may be not only every bit as full and rich as they are accustomed to dealing with, but more so, is, I think, an important part of the experience as well.
Plus, it gives them empathy and compassion as well.
Well, and empathy, you know, empathy is an interesting word. I think people think of empathy as being sort of warm and fuzzy, and again, almost sympathetic. And, you know, what empathy really means is the ability to understand someone else's experience and frame of reference. I mean, if you think about it just as sort of open the dictionary, I mean, and back to the question about could one of your clients be a senator, a major part of being an effective senator is being empathetic enough to understand what your 39 colleagues in the state Senate feel, live, work, experience back home in their districts. They don't all come from the same place I do. They may not have the same values I do. So I have to be empathetic in the sense of understanding where are they coming from, what's their life experience, what's the context of their decision from the place they come from.
Right. I wish we could talk all afternoon. This is very fascinating.
Well, if my wife were here, she'd tell you I could talk all afternoon, so we got to be careful.
I could too. So what we'd like to do is we've shot a video of Deer Hollow Farm is one of the sites that we work. So let's have a look at what we do at Deer Hollow Farm.
Great.
So every week we take either a car or a van and we come here weekly and we clean up the feeding area. We then take the debris of the hay and the soiled hay and things like that, and then that gets thrown out.
The group's been cleaning the goat pen and the sheep pen. They've done a lot of work in the hay barn, raking up all the hay and spreading out new bedding for the goats. Yeah, whatever we need done.
I like working the hollow because I like to raking the hay. I feel good myself.
They're very productive, and it's something that eases Claire's position so that she can be focusing on other things, and we can be creating team building and discussion, learning.
I mean, I love the work that they do. It definitely takes a lot of pressure off of me in the morning when I'm trying to get all the chores done, and I know that I can leave the sheep and goat pen for these guys, and they're going to do a great job. I think they often do a better job than I do.
I think our participants have a wonderful time because this is absolutely not a typical type of job that you get. So they get to have experience in every different type of avenue and way that just makes them mature and developed. It's a work in progress, trying to make sure that we can give them skills to be able to carry on in their jobs in the future and to be just a better person.
I like talking to these guys. They make me laugh.
They together as a team help out as a team get some great work done. It's just a terrific place. They're all such wonderful individuals, and they can each contribute something for this.
I like working with other people. Big smile, big face. I like to feel good myself. I did. I like working hard, Maybe in the future I want to work, paying jobs.
I look forward to having the group coming every week and knowing that they're going to come and work hard and do a good job.
It's a pleasure to work with all of our participants.
I've learned that everybody has different abilities and can contribute in different ways to get the work done at the farm.
I'm happy while I'm working the Hello.
I love watching that video. I actually went to Deer Hollow with the group, and it's so much fun. They have such a good time, and they do such productive work. I would have never known how productive they could be at a farm, so that was a lot of fun. So with me now in the studio is Claire Bohannon. Welcome, Claire.
Welcome.
How are you doing today?
Good.
Good. So Claire, tell me a little bit about yourself, and tell me now, I know that you've got a really special talent, and I want to learn about that.
Well, my name is Claire Bohannon, and I'm an author. I like to write books for a living. It's just my passion, and it really means a lot to me to write books for people in America.
So let's start. Claire, how old are you?
I'm 21.
You're 21, and you're already a published author.
Yes.
So when did you start writing books?
I started writing books in 2010.
So about a year and a half ago or so?
Yes.
Okay. And what gave you the idea? How did that come about?
I just like doing books for a living because it's something I can do at home, and it's just things like that.
Okay. So you've got your first book with you, right?
Yes, this is my first one.
Okay, why don't you hold it up to the camera? And it's Baby in the Basket. Where'd you come up with that title?
I was creative, and I looked in the part of the Bible, so I decided to create something different, and just things like that.
Okay. And can you show me, you did the illustrations as well, right?
Yes, I did the illustrations and the writing.
So why don't you show me one of your favorite pictures in there?
Okay. My favorite is this one. Oh, sorry about that.
That's okay. And what do you like about that?
I like how the little girl finds the baby, and the baby is actually found healthy and alive.
Oh, wow. Okay. So how long did it take you to create all of this?
It took me about a month in like April of 2010.
So do you come up with the colors? And I mean, that's all your ideas, right?
Yes.
Wow. You got to be really proud of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah? Oh, I'm really blown away. It's really exciting. So tell me a little bit about your next project. You can put the book down and let's talk about your next project.
I'm making another book called My Autism. It's a book where I grew up, and then it's basically, it's where I can, where other people with autism, they can see how I grew up with autism, and it's to show them that they can have dreams and that they have rights in America. I just always loved writing. I mean, it's something, growing up, I've always wanted to make a book. Like throughout my childhood and teenhood, it's just been my passion, and one day I want to be a world's famous author. That's my ultimate dream. Whatever you want to do in life, go after it. If people tell you no, don't listen to them. It doesn't matter what they say, it matters what you want.
So really follow your heart.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason, and I believe I'm autistic for a reason.
And you've gotten a lot of gifts from that as well.
Yeah.
Well, it's so encouraging to see, and I just think at 21, publishing your own books, that's not an accomplishment that many people can do.
Yeah.
So is your family really proud of you?
Yes.
Oh, that's wonderful. And you'd like to be a famous author in the future, huh?
Yes, definitely.
Well, you're definitely on your way. So thank you so much for coming and sharing your book. I just wish you all the success in the world.
Yeah.
So we're going to take another look. We also work at the Boys and Girls Club in East Palo Alto. So let's take a look at some of the work that we do there.
Abilities United comes once a week and works cleaning our classrooms so that kids have a nice, clean space to go into after school. The janitors don't clean our after-school classrooms during the week, and so this is a great opportunity to let the staff off and not have to spend their valuable, very short, minimal time cleaning rooms.
I volunteer for the Boys and Girls Club because I thought we could help the school, and that if we do the work, we can help the people who are in the school and who are in the classrooms.
The Abilities United volunteers have been amazingly productive. They're always on time, they're always ready to go, and they're always excited to be here.
I like working here every Wednesday. We do vacuum, cleaning tables, and first we put the chairs down before we clean the tables first.
Our group is extremely productive. They work very hard, they get the job done very quick, and we have a lot of work to do in 1 hour.
They are amazing, just a really bright and shiny group of adults who come in with a positive attitude and are willing to do whatever we need them to do.
I like working with the guys because they understand that we're cleaning the classrooms for kids to come after school to stay out of trouble and to be occupied doing arts and crafts or anything they do here. And the participants understand that we're cleaning them for kids to stay out of trouble.
I think it's shown me that there's lots of other different groups that are able to come and help us in other ways beyond just tutoring and mentoring our students. So there's lots of things our organization needs help with, and when we can think about it in a really open, holistic way, we're able to be more productive in the things that we're really good at, which is youth development. And so Abilities United has really helped us grow in that sense, and it's helped me in particular really think holistically about our organization and the work volunteers can do.
I feel great because we all know we're helping people, so we all feel great.
We love the Abilities United volunteers, and we definitely would continue to love to have them here.
It's actually made me a better person because not only they're helping, I'm helping too.
The interactions with them are always really positive, and they come with great smiles and happy attitudes.
I love it. I love working for Abilities United.
I would love to work, to continue working with Abilities United.
Yeah, I think I like working here, yes.
I like to help people.
That's another great site, the Boys and Girls Club in East Palo Alto. We get a lot done there. In fact, they have asked us if we would come back every day. So we're really popular at that site. So with me now in studio is another guest, Terry Eagle. Welcome, Terry.
Welcome.
So Terry, you also have a very special talent. Tell me a little bit about what you make.
Make walking sticks for people going hiking, or just, for walking, with bad leg, or just mainly art.
So what gave you the idea to do this?
Riding my bike down the street, and I came across this stick right here, and looked at it and thought it'd be a nice design for a cane, so I polished it down, and here it is.
So that was just a normal stick that you'd see on a pathway, and you took it and you created that with just your hands?
Yes, I did.
Oh my God.
Took a while.
So how long did something like that take you?
3 to 4 hours.
That's amazing. And did you did you have a vision in your head, or did it just instinctively come to you?
It just came to me because I walk with the stick. I walk with the cane, so.
So you've needed a cane in the past.
Yes.
And so these help you as well. Do you have a wood shop at home, or where do you do it?
No, I just do it in the garage.
In the garage?
Just a bunch of sandpaper.
No fancy tools, no
just
machines?
my hands.
Wow, wow. I mean, it's really beautiful. It's a piece of art. It's definitely a piece of art.
Took a while.
So how do you feel when you're making these sorts of things? How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel good, that I'm doing something enjoyable,
And what would you like for the future? What
I like for the future is for people to be able to use them as hiking, walking, using it for a cane as they need it, or just plainly put it on display for art.
So either way, it could aid someone who needs it for assistance, or it could be a work of art.
Correct, yes.
Yeah. How does that make you feel when you think you're helping someone walk better?
Makes me feel great.
Yeah.
You know.
Older people, people such as yourself.
You know, whatever, you know, helps that person out, no matter what it is, you know. You know, makes me feel good.
It makes you feel good. So, can people order these from you, or how do you sell them? Just word of mouth?
Right now, word of mouth, you know. I have a couple of them right here, too.
I like the one with the tennis shoe on top.
Yeah, this one, a friend of mine, he goes canning, and he had a stick basically the same size, and this, I sanded the whole thing down, you know, and then I spray painted it, and then after I spray painted it, I put a little shoe on it because he walks a lot, and, you know, so this guy, he's going to advertise, you know, by walking around when he goes canning.
Yeah, and you can say, hey, where'd you get that? That's awesome, yeah. And you said that you wanted to take him to senior centers and...
Senior centers and, you know, just different places, you know.
Yeah.
So,
those are, I would expect to see those somewhere in a store or a museum.
Well, I've had a lot of compliments on this one. That's how I got started.
Yeah, that's a keeper. That's definitely
This one's not going nowhere.
Well, thank you, Terry. It's beautiful to see what talent you have. You've got an incredible amount of talent there. So, I think you can see that whether it's becoming a state senator or an author or an artist, there are so many worlds open to people of all abilities, and it's so encouraging to see what our participants are doing and everyone's doing to give back in the world. Thank you for joining us at Abilities United.